Hey everybody, it's Dr. Smith from Accomplished Health and Wellness and Heather Fiore from Free State Nutrition here in Lawrence, Kansas. And today we're talking about the leaky gut. We have tea today too, and it's really hot, so watch out. Right. It's so hot. It's chai tea because that's my favorite. And it's the holidays, and I'm like, oh, I should have chai tea now.
I just heard people talking about the fact that chai means tea.
Yeah, it's like tea.
So you're having tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is tea. It's tea time.
Yeah, perfect.
Did you hear about Starbucks?
What happened last year? What'd they do? Well, I know they put up their holiday cup.
They were giving away free travel mugs.
Oh.
For like the first however many people that came in.
Oh my gosh.
At 8.
I did not hear this.
It's probably a good thing you wouldn't have gotten a travel mug.
No,
it was like
I already have one.
Crazy.
Really?
Crazy. Yeah, then you can, yeah. So you could have gotten a free one.
You know, I'm like overrun with cups in my house.
Yeah.
Right? Like sippy cups and water bottles and
my God.
coffee
I'm
mugs.
about to put a lot of them into the recycle bin because I keep going, do you have PBA?
Right, and you do. You're pretty much full of BPA.
Yeah, so
and I was like,
I need less of that
and
in my life.
Travel coffee mug that's like plastic on the inside.
Yeah. Right.
No.
So I need to get rid of some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, so
that is related though. So hold that thought. We're gonna get back to that later.
Right. With the leaky gut
toxins, yeah.
Okay. So leaky gut. What an interesting topic, right? This topic came up a couple years ago and just kind of exploded. Yeah, it took the world by storm. And so
yes.
Leaky gut has another name. And it's called increased intestinal permeability.
Yes, which is probably a little more like realistic about like what's happening.
It's not like leaking your stuff out into your abdomen, people. It's just a leaky gut. So what does that mean, right? I don't even know. I do actually, and I'm gonna tell you, so now you'll know. So your intestines actually have the greatest surface area in all of your body. If you stretch them out, you can stretch them out forever, and they're all like in your stomach, right? All curled up and all folded on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the most interesting thing to see is someone with a bowel obstruction that has to be like reduced, and you have to go in, and then you can see the guts all like going like this.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Oh, like it's moving. You mean because
they're like because they're trying to they try to untwist themselves, but they can't, and so you have to go in and find it, and then one side will be all huge and red and angry looking, and then everything past that is like all deflated, and then you have to untwist it.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. Do you know?
Sounds cool.
Your right?
Kind of. If you're into that sort of thing.
Your peritoneal sac, which is like this sac that covers the intestines, right?
Yes.
That if you have an infection somewhere, so say like you have appendicitis and it ruptures, then your peritoneal sac will actually migrate over there and try to wall the infection off.
Brilliant.
Isn't it?
That's cool.
It's awesome, right?
I didn't know.
The gut is so crazy. So so there's this lining to the intestine, and it covers the entire surface area of the inside of the intestine, and it forms these tight barriers, right? Your lining is supposed to have tight barriers, and that controls what is going to get absorbed into the bloodstream. Okay. So an unhealthy gut, the lining may have cracks in it or openings in it or holes in it or breaks in it.
Yes.
Just that lining, and so it exposes the under tissue. Okay. So when that happens, and like food comes along and touches it, or drinks or whatever we took into our system comes along and touches it, it's not supposed to touch that. So it's like if you put lemon juice on like a wound, it stings, right? Well, the same thing happens in the gut. And that's actually why it's called leaky gut. Because it gets into these little crevices and then wreaks havoc, causes lots of inflammation and lots of all kinds of stuff. That's not good for us.
Right.
And it can change your gut flora, which will cause problems with digestion. So, and other things. It can also change, just your gut flora being changed because of your absorption of stuff. It will change all kinds of things all over your body. So you can get rashes, if you're like not absorbing certain minerals or vitamins and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You're going to get other stuff, right? That seems normal. Right? So who gets this leaky gut?
Yes, indeed.
Right? Who gets that? Everyone has leaky gut to some degree. You're not supposed to have the lining isn't supposed to be impenetrable.
Right.
Because that's how we absorb things. But so to some degree, everyone has a little bit of leaky gut. But it's what degree do you have it to? And what can you do to make it better, right?
Right. And do we even know, are there really good tests to say that this is happening?
We don't even this leaky gut. It's just not really a medical diagnosis. Really, it's kind of a theory right now. There's no scientific data that shows anything like that. But some people can be predisposed to this because they, might be those people that are sensitive to changes, any kind of changes in their gut flora, and make changes in their digestive system, creating bloating and whatever stuff. There's other things that can put you at risk. So not just being genetically predisposed, but low fiber, high sugar, and high saturated fat diets can also initiate this process because it changes your gut flora. That's really what it is changing your gut flora. Alcohol and stress, they can also disrupt your balance there.
Yes.
Because, stress does crazy things.
Yeah, it affects your entire body.
It does.
And obviously if your gut is the center of your immune system, it's not hard to imagine why stress would be causing a problem. Yeah.
You get stressed and you get diarrhea. Lots of people that happens.
Right, or bloating.
Yeah. Or the bloating after the diarrhea that you got because you were stressed. Yeah.
All sorts of good times.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it can play a role in other things. So certain GI conditions like celiac disease, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, which we're going to talk about that in the future, right? That's on our list.
Yes, it is.
There are some studies that indicate that it might be associated with some autoimmune stuff like lupus, type 1 diabetes, also chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
That's
a
my own. Yeah. Someday I'll talk about that.
Well, and what about thyroid too, right?
Thyroid, yeah. Arthritis, acne. Crazy, right? Acne.
I know. Crazy.
Obesity, and then maybe some mental illness like depression and anxiety. I mean, could you imagine if you were always feeling crummy? I'd feel pretty down. So what can we do? What can we do to help this?
Yes.
You can remove foods that cause inflammation that we already talked about. You can also add in ones that promote good gut health. And you can also remove processed foods, alcohol, those high sugar foods, and then some medications. So, every time that I prescribe an antibiotic for somebody, I always tell them to take a probiotic. And the reason is that antibiotics, they don't care one stinking bit what they kill, right? They're not oh, this person has a sinus infection. I'm just going to go to the sinuses and kill whatever's there. That's not how it works. They kill whatever they can kill. Everything, right? So they kill the good stuff in our gut, creates diarrhea, bloating, all kinds of loveliness. And in women, they also kill the good stuff in our vagina. So your body in general, everywhere, is this, I always call it, it's like a war. It's a territorial war between yeast and bacteria. And they're constantly warring for territory, keeping each other in check, right? So if you take an antibiotic and you kill off the bacteria that are going to keep the yeast in check, guess what happens? the yeast aren't in check, so they grow. So you get thrush, yeast infections. I call them yeasty beasties. But and that's like because you took an antibiotic. Sometimes you need them, and sometimes you think you need them. So anyways, what foods and stuff do you think that?
So there's a couple of ways to approach it. I mean, this is the thing about this whole thing is not a simple process, and you really should not.
Is anything in the body simple?
No, fair enough. But you should not do this by yourself.
No.
You need direction. Okay?
Yeah.
You need a health professional or maybe a team of people to help you do this. Yeah. So the way to approach the food part is I think some people would say you've got to take care of this other stuff first, like these other triggers, and other people say you do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
I am not going to say one way or the other, but my thought is that there might be some foods that you're sensitive to or intolerant to. You need to take them out.
Right.
There are tests you can do that may or may not be valid. I don't know. I'm not even passing judgment. I'm not saying they aren't. I'm just saying I don't know.
There's just not enough data. There's scientific data behind the leaky gut yet.
No. And food sensitivities, how do you test for that? I don't know. But there are tests.
Usually when you have food sensitivities anyway, you have to be eating that food in order to be testing for the sensitivity,
That's my thought.
You have to look at the antibody levels to it because it creates that. So, because it creates that immune response.
So there are people called leap therapists that are that go through a whole bunch of training to do this, and they run this test called the Mrt Test, and it's a mediator release assay.
Oh, okay.
And so what this test does is it gives you it tests all these foods and gives you a score green, yellow, red. I think is kind of how it is.
Sure.
Green is go ahead and eat it. Red is definitely cut that out. And then yellow is well, you might want to cut that out too. So what you do with the help of this person that's interpreting this test with you is you cut out all your yellow and red foods. And then
people do think that I do that.
I mean, it's I don't. I thought about doing it and then I was you know what? I don't. It's not for me.
Okay.
But there are lots of people. There are lots of dietitians and probably other people too that do this. I would recommend a dietitian because we're talking about food. So
we are.
I'm a little partial.
Food.
So you cut the foods out and then you add them back in. So it's not all the yellow and red foods are gone for good. It's just that you're letting your gut heal. Is this, the theory, okay? So you let your gut heal by taking out these foods and also working on some of this other stuff, maybe taking some probiotics, maybe there's some other stuff. You're working on your stress, working on toxins.
Yoga.
I think we need to talk about toxins too.
Because toxins, they give me stress.
See, it's a double whammy.
I look at all my cups and I'm my kids are doomed. My son's gonna have 3 testicles and my daughter's boobs are gonna fall off. I don't know, who knows what's gonna happen?
It's unclear.
It's just, and they're everywhere.
I know, but it doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can do, step by step.
I thought about, which we've talked about that.
Yes, we have.
I thought about taking the plastic and converting it to glass, and then I remembered this one time that my son got up on the counter. So he managed to push a chair over there, and then climbed up on the counter, and then got to the top counter, cabinet shelf, to get the pasta that he had seen me pull out the day before, that was spirally and colored. And when he did that, it was in a jar, and it shattered.
Right.
And then I was oh no, baby Dean, you can't be around glass. No, I still find glass. That happened months ago.
Yeah.
That stuff goes crazy. And I don't even know how it ends up where it ends up.
I don't know. Find it years later.
Yeah. Anyways, so
the leap therapist does this test with you.
Okay.
And you rule out.
It's a blood test?
It's a blood test.
Okay.
And you, like I said, you cut out the foods, but then you, for 6 weeks, I think it is. and then you add stuff back in. And I don't know the details because I don't do this exactly. But so that is how it's done. It's not that you're, and we talked about this before, you're not allergic. You don't have to avoid these foods altogether. It's just that if you're intolerant or sensitive, it means there's like some level of these foods that you can tolerate. And beyond that,
and you just have to figure that out.
And you have to figure
it out. It's like potatoes. With me, I love potatoes.
Right.
I would eat potatoes every day if I could. But guess what? I can't. Because they make me bloated.
Right. But you can eat small amounts.
But I can eat them like twice a week if I wanted to. But it took me a while to figure that out.
Right.
And then if I do that, I don't get bloated.
Right.
So
it's not that potatoes are bad. It's just that too many potatoes are bad. And your body's letting you know, which is very nice.
Exactly. Right?
Right.
It is, really. Our bodies are crazy and
so
healthy.
If you don't want to work with a leap therapist, this can be done a little more like sort of in the dark. And I have helped people through it where we'll take a couple of like potential offenders. And sometimes people already have an idea, like, I think I have a trouble with wheat or dairy or something. Yeah. And so we take those things out. It could be dairy, it could be wheat, it could be sugar, it could be soy. Yeah, like these are your most common things. And I guess corn, apparently. Sure. So these are the potential offenders. Eggs. This is why you don't do this alone, because you're obviously going to have a really hard time getting, balanced nutrition. Plus, anybody who has like a history of an eating disorder or even like disordered eating, I'd be really cautious and I'd be really hesitant to even do this process.
Because they could be controlling their food.
Well, yeah, because it's like, this is just like giving them a reason.
Like elimination to the extreme.
Right.
It's bringing back what they already were.
It's validating, like, I have to avoid these foods because the dietitian told me to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you have to be really careful about that. Or it just messes with your health, which is
right.
So you cut the stuff out, you work on, healthy gut stuff, which we've been talking about a little bit, and then you kind of reintroduce gradually and you see, do you have GI symptoms or any other symptoms that come with the foods, and you do it systematically, and it takes a long time and you have to be really patient.
Right.
Yeah. But that's how the food part is done. But there are other pieces to it. So like if we go back to the toxins, I mean, like stress is obviously a huge trigger that you can imagine can cause some, damage to your gut. But toxins too.
Toxins are everywhere too. But yoga actually, I can't say enough good things about yoga. There's actually this study that was done with yoga.
No.
There was a study done with breast cancer women that
like survivors of
no
breast cancer?
No, they currently had breast cancer and were undergoing chemo and radiation. And they had broken them into two groups. One that was supposed to be doing some like self-guided yoga kind of thing or meditation or something. And then the other group was actually getting yoga. Like they had a designated yoga class that they went to. And what they found was, and like both sets of women were getting the same chemo and radiation regimen. What they found was that the women that went to the yoga class and regularly and everything, that they actually required less chemo and radiation. And when they looked at the DNA level, they actually, so you have this long strand of DNA at the end of your DNA called telomeres, and it's like junk DNA. Right. But that's where a lot of mutations happen. And so a lot of times when it mutates, it shortens those. Okay. What these women had was longer telomeres than the other women. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
So it was like yoga was actually changing them at the cellular level, at the DNA level.
It's wild.
Right. So, I mean,
compared to people doing meditation?
Doing self-guided.
Okay. But still.
Yeah. So that means that, did they really follow what they were supposed to be doing? I don't know. But what they did find was that the yoga people in general did better. So I say that all the time to people, and I wish I had time to do yoga. I wish they had a 10-minute yoga class. If anyone knows of a 10-minute yoga class, that would be great because I could really use a 10-minute yoga class.
I have 20 minutes, like 15 to 20.
I need 10.
Okay. You need more time is what you need.
I need a clone. I need. Anyways, back to our reducing stress. That's why we got on that.
Right. So reducing stress is really important and very individualized. I mean, everyone has different ways of.
Everyone's stress is different.
Right. And how does it manifest and what do you do about it? And this is why we have adult coloring books.
Yeah.
Right? Some people find that relaxing.
Do you know, actually, that's funny that you say that because I was going to have a coloring night with my kids and I was going to get out the adult coloring book.
And you were probably the most excited about it.
I'm pretty excited. My kids are pretty excited too, but I'm pretty excited. Not only that, I was going to have a Lego night too. I really want to play with Legos.
Those are fun.
My kids love to play with them, but I'm always cleaning. And so that's my stress. It's a big part of my stress is like cleaning my house. When you have a 2-year-old, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Like he really thinks it's funny to come behind me and dump whatever I just cleaned up. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so my best friends, they're always like, okay, just don't look at it.
Right. Just close the door on that room. Is that a thing?
Close your eyes and don't worry about it.
It's hard.
Because you have other things to do. And, you know, if I could afford a maid, I would get one. But I still probably wouldn't get one because I just grew up as clean up your own mess. So I make him clean it up. But it's still made the mess. Anyway, okay, back to our stress. Reducing our stress.
So yes, reduce your stress, and that is very individual, and you need to figure out what works for you. Sometimes you need to talk to somebody about it.
Sometimes
there are people that do that too. That's what therapists are for.
Sometimes you need to color. Sometimes you need to do yoga.
Maybe journaling. Maybe you call a friend. Maybe
girls' night or guys' night.
Maybe exercise.
Oh, I do that.
Run, cardio.
Yeah, kickboxing. What do you do?
Well, it's called group fight. But
group fight.
But it's kickboxing, yeah.
I'm all about group fighting stuff too. Punching something.
I was going to, it got canceled, but I was going to go to cardio tennis today, which is so fun. I mean, it's a cardio class, but you're just on the tennis court with a tennis racket. And like sometimes you're hitting a ball. But
that's kind of cool.
But you're just running around.
I could do that actually. That'd be fun.
Yeah. You do not need to know how to play tennis. It's really fun.
Oh, good. Because I'm not very good at tennis.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the things. And you're just running around like chasing the ball.
Like you act like you're going to.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Okay, so that's stress. So you need to manage your stress. This is not, leaky gut is not all about food. Like,
no.
The food is a piece, but you have to think about all this other stuff.
Yeah, so, actually, you know, the funny thing is the food part is actually like really kind of, I don't know how to say it, like a secondary issue.
Yeah, that is kind of a secondary issue.
The real issue is more your lining.
Right.
You know, like.
But like, are these foods, you know,
creating
some inflammation in the lining?
But there's so many other things are also creating it.
Right. So like
that you can modify.
It easily. Is not all about gluten. That is what we're saying. Like gluten is not your
gluten is not our enemy. It's not.
And even if you
and as we've learned, neither is soy.
So even if you think that you're sensitive to gluten or soy or whatever, or milk, any of these things, it doesn't mean like cut that out and like problem solved. You might feel a little better, but like think of all these other things that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
So toxins are huge, and we're saying yes, they're everywhere. You cannot avoid them, but you can reduce your exposure. Now, if you buy a new car, for example. Like
the new car smell.
The new car smell. Even if you buy a used car, and I don't know, I'm sure I told you my story because I just bought a 4-year-old car
in there.
They put it in the vents, and then you smell. So if you're buying a car, make sure you tell them.
Don't make my car smell like new car.
I do not want new car smell. I don't want my car to smell like anything. And if it does, you open the windows and maybe you put some like baking powder.
Maybe you should tell them
soda,
that you
like
don't want
in a little bowl.
Like stinky feet. Though.
You could try. Right, but you can address the smells in a way that doesn't like
normal way.
Cover it up with a new smell, like baking soda or vinegar.
So do you not use those like air fresheners in your car? No?
Like they make me angry. Like that's how much I hate smells. Like fake smell of any kind, angry.
Okay.
Stress, no good. It's bad news. So, but there are some things like vinegar and water in a spray bottle with a little bit of like maybe peppermint oil or some kind of oil you might like, and you spray that. You like shake it up and you spray it, and the peppermint will cover up the vinegar a little bit, but the vinegar will actually like remove the smell.
Yeah,
yes.
Clean. Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. And that's for a lot of things. Like,
did you know that you can do that with thieves oil? Thieves oil from Young Living. They actually have like this whole cleaning line that is, thieves cleaning. Yeah, so you could always go that route. I actually am researching thieves oil because have you ever done thieves oil?
I can't stand the smell of it, but I want to like it.
But you know what? You had it one time in your tea because I made it for you that one time.
I think I remember that. I was like, what am I going to do? But like,
you did it.
I did it.
But do you know that thieves oil is crazy amazing?
Yes.
I have to admit, like that stuff, man, usually, everyone, a cold lasts for 7 to 10 days, right? So I do adjustments and thieves oil, and we're like sick for 4 days. That's it. I don't even know what's in that stuff. So I'm researching it right now because
let us know.
I want to know because it's crazy.
It's crazy stuff.
But I could clean my whole house with that, and it smells like chai tea. Tea.
But that's the important thing is like cleaning, cleaning products. It doesn't have to say antibacterial for it to actually like disinfect. Like Castile soap disinfects. It doesn't just like wipe surfaces. Like it will, it will disinfect. So you don't need toxic chemicals in your house just to get clean.
Now I've got something more to worry about.
I mean, don't worry. Like you just replace as you go.
Yes. We keep saying that.
Is the message. And
that's what I'm doing at Christmas. It's in my head. I can't say it because my daughter might watch. But there's going to be some changes around something in our house. And we're going to have different ones.
You just have to start somewhere.
Somewhere.
You can't like go through your house,
identify it all out.
Identify all the toxins, and then replace everything.
It's too overwhelming.
You would go broke. It's overwhelming.
And it's too expensive.
Crazy. So don't do that. But just gradually, you use something up, you say, okay, what can I replace it with? So that's cleaning products. And it's personal care products.
Yeah, I'm actually, this is what I asked for Christmas from my mom because she wanted to know what stocking stuffer. I was like, oh, Mom, I want a wool ball. She's like, what's that? Is that like a tennis ball? I was like, that's one of those wool balls that you stick in the dryer instead of dryer sheet.
Yes.
And you can put essential oils on them to make your clothes. And see, then
if you like that sort of thing.
I do, actually. I like the lavender one. So then I can get rid of the smelly stuff that I kind of put in my washing machine, only a little bit, just so that it doesn't, because sometimes what I need to do is put the vinegar into the washing machine.
Yes, you do. That will help with static clean too.
Yeah. Anyways, but I'm going to run out of my bounce sheets so that I can have my wool ball.
There you go. Done.
Two things this Christmas. 2.
So it can be done.
It can.
So the Environmental Working Group, we've talked about this a lot. And they are your resource for
lots of information.
Check all your products. Don't check them all in one day, but check them out. Like as you're using something up, like, oh, let me see what that's like. Can I just buy it again, or do I need to think of something better?
The answer is probably no.
You probably need something better. But they have stuff. It's not just all bad news. It's like, okay, that stuff isn't great, but this stuff is. And
so, do you know a product that actually will like remove the stains from your sink?
Is it porcelain or? Yeah. Well, I think, so I have this book, Clean House, Clean Planet, and she's got all these recipes for like the different, rooms in the house and how to clean them. And I think that would be the same as like for a tub, you make like a paste of like baking soda and vinegar, and there's like 1 or 2 other things. And I think you put it in like a quart bottle type of
And
thing.
let it sit on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you might have to scrub a little, but
Yeah.
it's mostly like it does the work.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there's other things than
Yes.
Comet.
Yeah, there are alternatives to
Do you know I
Comet.
actually have a chlorine allergy?
Oh,
I do. And this is part of my leaky gut.
okay.
If I drink too much city water, it wreaks havoc on my gut.
Wow.
It's terrible. And when I was pregnant, it was so bad, I would actually bleed. Like
Oh my
I couldn't
gosh.
even drink a sip of city water because there was so much chlorine in it.
Wow.
I would actually look at cups of water and be like, am I gonna die?
That's nuts.
It was
I mean, couldn't
awful.
you
It's
like
water.
sit it out and it would like
I don't know.
diffuse? I think that's the idea with the chlorine.
Probably.
If you let it
But
in the fridge.
so like I have a special filter and whatever, and there's one brand that I can drink that you can buy in the store.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually drink that. But Comet has, chlorine in it, and so I really have to watch it because it will make my hands react. And then pools, swimming pools, I have a problem with unless they're freshwater. Yeah, it's good.
So if your cleaning products are making you ill,
Don't use them.
they're not good for you.
Right.
I think that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Get yourself some Castile soap.
Yeah.
Get the book. It's old. I'm sure. I don't even know if you can still buy it. Maybe at the library.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Clean House, Clean Planet.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll bring
They
it.
probably have like a 20th edition anyway.
Maybe, or she should anyway. Anyway, so that's your cleaning products and personal care products. Again, environmental working group.
Yeah.
I recently discovered Beauty Counter because I got tired of like checking all my products on environmental working group. And then, you find something that's safe and then you buy it and then maybe it doesn't work that great.
Right.
And that's a bummer. Or what if it gets discontinued and then you have to go back to the drawing board with all the research.
Right.
It's exhausting.
It really is.
So
I really like Ever skincare. They're all natural too, but they're not as extensive as Beauty Counter because Beauty Counter has like a ton of stuff. But I like Ever skincare. It's they have some anti-aging stuff and I really like them. And they smell nice and they're safe.
There you go. That's what it's about.
It's finding that safe product, but like you said, sometimes
it can be exhausting.
It's stressful.
Right.
It's more leaky gut.
Right. If it's causing you stress, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that those are kind of the big things. We kind of touched on like the yeast part, like the infections. There's also a thing called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about that earlier today with somebody. Bacterial. So not only can you get yeast overgrowth, if you kill off the yeast, you can get bacterial overgrowth. So you take like, an antifungal and you kill off. Or if you take too much prebiotics, guess what? Bacterial overgrowth. And you get a ton of bloating with it. Bloating.
So interesting. Because you need prebiotics and probiotics.
We should talk about that. We should add it to our list, pre and pro. Because what's the difference, We should know that. Yeah, so we'll add that to our list. So we're going to watch for that, bacterial overgrowth. We don't want that. There is actually tests for that.
Yes.
Yes,
you can, and then you get treated for it. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but then guess what? What do you think they do to treat you for it?
Antibiotics.
Yeah, and then guess what?
And then you got to start all over and replace.
The yeast. Oh, it's an issue. It's like chasing your tail.
Right. It's a fine
The better thing
act.
is to just stop doing the probiotics, and it takes longer to get it all out. But over the course of a month or so, it all calms down. And then you can like figure out again what your
what's your balance
you need.
Yeah, that's tricky in there. And we're kind of in the dark, right? We're just totally guessing.
So in the dark.
What's going on in there? I don't know. Maybe I need more of this, more of that.
Yeah. Just kind of like leaky gut.
It's very much so. Like
in the dark.
We're just guessing. Yeah. So some of this stuff is stuff like, okay, I could do this, but other things like you
need direction.
Some help for sure. Because after all this is said and done, like you still need to figure out the balancing part. So like with the probiotics and prebiotics and with your diet, like you want to end up with a a diet that doesn't cause these GI symptoms and leaky gut, but also, you know,
you
is
can eat
balanced like nutritionally.
and, yeah,
and give
and
you all
sustains your body and what you need to do with it during the day.
And that's not easy.
Yeah,
Some of us went to school to teach you how to do that.
yeah, so you can talk to her about it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, but there's also the repair part. Like, I don't know. You tell me what you think about all this stuff. Like, I mean, there's fish oil, vitamin D. I can get into that, but like turmeric and zinc and
do you know
glutamine powder.
Yeah, those are a lot of stuff.
I don't know. This is where it's like, I don't know. Is there evidence for this?
There's no evidence that it's gonna. There's no scientific data because guess what? There's no scientific data that this exists. But we believe it does, and I do believe it does.
Okay.
But there's no scientific data.
Right. So supplements you need to be careful about.
Supplement, yes. And you don't ever know what you're getting with a supplement. So you have to know what you're getting, where your supplement's coming from, and all of this in order to, you know, proceed.
Reliable sources.
So, and then does it help? Does it not help? You know, it's like nobody follows the book. So what helps one person may not help the other person, or you have to do a different combo. You know, it's all like, it's like the recipe that you modify every time you make it, so it becomes perfect. So it is.
There you go.
Yeah. So don't do it on your own, people.
Don't.
That's why we have people like Heather that went to school to help people learn how to eat.
Yeah, it's just not as easy as you might think.
I get to identify the problem and then send them to her so that she can help them with the nutritional part. But she's so brilliant, and I learn so much from her all the time.
That's nice.
Yeah, I've learned so much this last year, especially with nutrition. I mean, I know a lot about medicine, but you don't learn nutrition and anything like that in medicine.
And yet you're expected to talk to people about nutrition.
Do you know what bothers me? Do you know what bothers me so much? The line, please speak to your physician before taking this. Or
right, like you're going to know. Like
thanks for putting it all on the physician. Hello. So that's why we have people like Heather that we can ask. So, and it's all a team effort, really.
It is.
When you have a really good group working with you, it runs so much smoother, and it's a team effort.
Right. Everybody needs to know their own scope and what's not
practice
in their
within that scope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And communicate, and then
keep going. All right. So, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
But, so where do we want to like get into the pre-probiotics next week, or we can do all this, or we can do...
Let's you know what I think we should do is the pre-probiotics, and then because that will kind of also lead into I think the IBS, and then the IBS will definitely lead us into constipation and diarrhea.
Yes, exactly.
And those topics, gosh, they're like big enough on their own to. Okay, so prebiotics next week, everyone. You know, it's supposed to get snowy here tonight, or rainy, or slushy.
Even when I see it, but yeah.
So if it does, be safe. And we will see you next week. Always, always, always remember that you can always ask questions, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. And hopefully you guys have a good rest of your week, and we will see you next week for some pro and prebiotics. Bye.